There's something strange about women. They can overlook you, dismiss you, and even act like you don't exist, until one day everything changes. Suddenly, she's interested. Suddenly, she values you. But why? Why does a woman who once ignored you now see you as the man she wants? Most men think it's just bad timing. They assume she wasn't ready before. But that's not the truth. Women don't randomly change their minds. They respond to shifts in power. If she didn't value you at first, it's because she didn't have to. You were too available, too predictable, or too easy to get. But once that dynamic changes, so does her perception. A woman will only start valuing you when she realizes she no longer has full control. When she sees that you've stopped chasing. When she notices that your attention is no longer guaranteed. That's when her attraction kicks in. Not because she suddenly discovered your worth, but because she now fears losing something she once took for granted. Women are wired to respond to strength, confidence, and emotional control. The men who get respected and desired aren't the ones who try the hardest. They're the ones who set standards and refuse to beg for attention. This is how the modern dating world works. A man who knows his value, who walks away when he isn't appreciated, forces a woman to see him differently. Suddenly, he's no longer just another option. He's a man she wants. Now let's break this down. I'll show you exactly why women suddenly start valuing you after they once ignored you. And by the end, you'll understand the simple but powerful truth about attraction that most men never figure out. 1. You stopped giving her attention. Attention is a currency in the modern dating world, and most men are handing it out for free. When a woman knows she can get your attention whenever she wants, she doesn't value it. She might enjoy it, she might even use it to boost her ego, but she won't truly respect it. The moment she realizes you're no longer giving her that constant attention, she starts seeing you differently. At first, she barely noticed you pulling away. She was used to you being there, liking her pictures, replying to her texts instantly, and always showing interest. But then something shifted. You weren't as available. You weren't watching her every move. You weren't reaching out. And suddenly, she started wondering why. Women are naturally drawn to what is uncertain. They lose interest in things they feel they have complete control over. The second she feels like she can't predict your next move, she starts thinking about you more. This is why men who are always there, always eager, always ready to respond, rarely get the same level of attraction as the men who remain a mystery. She starts asking herself questions. Why isn't he giving me attention anymore? Did he find someone else? Was I wrong about him? And the more she asks herself these questions, the more space you take up in her mind. That's when the dynamic flips. The key here is understanding that women are used to validation. In the age of social media, dating apps, and constant messaging, most men are throwing attention at them non-stop. But when you remove yourself from that crowd, when you stop being predictable, you create a sense of scarcity, and scarcity creates value. Think about it this way. Imagine there's a product that is always available, always on sale, and easy to get. Most people won't rush to buy it. But if that same product suddenly becomes rare, if it's in limited supply, everyone wants it. That's how human psychology works. And that's exactly why women start valuing men who don't give them unlimited attention. A real-life example. Let's say you used to text her good morning every day, check in on her, and show interest in everything she did. She never had to wonder about you, because you were always there. Then one day you stop. You go quiet. You focus on yourself. A few days pass, then a week. At first, she doesn't care. But then, as time goes on, she starts to feel the absence. She wonders why you stopped. And once that happens, she starts valuing the attention she once ignored. This is why pulling away is so effective. When you remove your attention, you force a woman to acknowledge the space you once filled. And when she realizes she can no longer take your attention for granted, that's when she starts valuing it. 2. You became a challenge. Women are wired to desire what they have to work for. If something comes too easily, it loses value. This is why men who are too available, too eager, or too predictable rarely create deep attraction. But the moment you stop making things easy for her, something changes. Suddenly, you're not just another guy giving her validation. You're a challenge. Most men make the mistake of thinking that being a good guy who does everything for her will make her appreciate them. They assume that if they just prove their worth, she'll see how valuable they are. But women don't work like that. They don't chase what's given to them on a silver platter. They chase what feels just out of reach. When you stop making yourself an easy option, you become the man she has to earn. Instead of texting her first, you wait for her to reach out. Instead of always being available, you make her wonder when she'll see you again. Instead of saying yes to everything, you have your own life, priorities, and boundaries. This shift forces her to put in effort, and that effort makes her value you more. Think about it like this. Imagine 2 job offers. One company is desperate to hire you, calling you nonstop, willing to give you anything you ask for. The other company is highly selective, making you go through multiple rounds of interviews, making you prove yourself before they offer you a position. Which job will you take more seriously? The one that made you work for it? That's exactly how attraction works. A real-life example. Imagine a guy who meets a woman and instantly makes her the center of his world. He texts her daily, compliments her constantly, and is always ready to drop everything to see her. At first, she enjoys the attention, but soon she starts taking it for granted. She knows she has him. There's no excitement, no mystery, no challenge. Then one day he stops chasing. He no longer texts first. He seems less available. He starts living his own life. Suddenly, she notices. She wonders why he's different. She starts thinking about him more. That's when her attraction begins to grow. This is why the men who keep a woman's interest the longest are the ones who maintain an element of unpredictability. They aren't always available, they don't always say yes, and they don't let a woman think she has them fully figured out. That sense of mystery makes her want to prove herself. When you become a challenge, you shift the balance of power. She goes from feeling like she's in control to feeling like she has to work to win you over. And the moment a woman feels like she has to earn your attention, that's when she starts to truly value it. 3. You improved yourself. Nothing flips the script faster than self-improvement. When a woman wasn't interested in you before, it's often because she didn't see you as someone worth chasing. Maybe she saw you as average, unremarkable, or just like every other guy giving her attention. But when you start leveling up, physically, mentally, financially, suddenly she sees you in a new light. Women are attracted to status, power, and confidence. That doesn't mean you need to be a billionaire or a celebrity. It means you need to be a man who is constantly evolving. The version of you that she ignored was the man who was stagnant. The version of you that she suddenly values is the man who is improving every single day. At first, she didn't care because she thought she had you figured out. You were predictable. But then you started changing. You hit the gym and built a stronger physique. You started dressing better, smelling better, carrying yourself with more confidence. You became busier, more ambitious, more focused on your purpose. You didn't chase her, you chased your goals. And nothing is more attractive to a woman than a man who is dedicated to something bigger than her. A real-life example. Let's say a guy was into a woman, but she never took him seriously. She saw him as just another guy in her DMs, another option she didn't feel excited about. But instead of begging for her attention, he went silent. He hit the gym consistently, got in shape, started dressing well, improved his social skills, and built a better lifestyle. Months later, they cross paths again, and she doesn't even recognize him at first. He's more confident, more composed, and now surrounded by options. Suddenly, she's the one trying to get his attention. This happens all the time. Women are naturally drawn to the man who is desired by others. When you level up, you don't just become more attractive to her, you become more attractive to other women. And when she sees that other women are starting to notice you, that's when she starts feeling that sense of regret. The mistake most men make is thinking that if they just wait around long enough, the woman will change her mind. But attraction isn't about waiting, it's about becoming. The moment you stop focusing on her and start focusing on becoming a better man, everything shifts. You stop seeking validation, you stop chasing, and you start demanding respect simply by who you are. And here's the truth, when you truly improve yourself, you may not even want her anymore. You might realize that the woman you once wanted so badly isn't even on your level anymore. And that's the real power of self-improvement. You don't just make her value you, you make yourself the kind of man who only entertains women who value him from the start. 4. You stopped caring about her opinion. The moment you stop caring what she thinks, everything changes. Women can sense when a man is seeking their approval. It's in the way he talks, the way he reacts, and the way he hesitates before saying something because he's afraid of what she'll think. That kind of behavior kills attraction. But the moment you stop looking for her validation and start living for yourself, she sees you differently. Most men put women on a pedestal without realizing it. They shape their words, their actions, and even their personalities around what they think will impress her. They hold back their real opinions, agree with everything she says, and try to avoid saying or doing anything that might turn her off. The problem? That kind of behavior makes you look weak. Women don't respect men who are afraid to be themselves. But when you stop caring about her opinion, you become a different man. You speak your mind without hesitation. You hold your ground when she disagrees. You don't try to impress her. You let her decide if she likes you for who you really are. And that confidence, that unshakable self-belief, is exactly what draws her in. A real-life example. Imagine a guy who used to be nervous around a woman he liked. He second-guessed everything, wondering if he was saying the right things, trying to be agreeable so she wouldn't lose interest. She never saw him as exciting because he was too focused on making her happy. Then one day he changed. He stopped overanalyzing. He stopped trying to be the guy he thought she wanted, and just started being himself. He became more opinionated, more decisive, more indifferent to her approval. And out of nowhere, she started texting him more, flirting with him, showing interest. Why? Because the moment he stopped caring, he became attractive. He gave off the energy of a man who doesn't need anyone's approval to feel good about himself. Women are naturally drawn to that. They don't want a guy who is begging for their validation. They want a guy who sets his own standard and lets them decide if they measure up. The reason she suddenly values you is because you're no longer playing by her rules. You're no longer reacting to her behavior, seeking her attention, or adjusting yourself to fit her expectations. You've detached from her opinion, and that makes her curious. She wonders why you've changed, why you seem less affected by her, why you no longer need her approval. That curiosity turns into attraction. The irony is, the less you care about what she thinks, the more she thinks about you. When you're not looking for her validation, she starts wondering if she has yours. And that shift in power is exactly why she starts valuing you more than she ever did before. 5. You became a challenge. Women don't value what comes easy. If she knows she can have you at any moment, there's no excitement, no tension, no sense of urgency. That's why so many men get ignored or overlooked. They're too available, too eager, too predictable. But when a woman suddenly realizes you're not so easy to get, that's when she starts chasing. Most guys make the mistake of thinking that if they're just nice enough, consistent enough, or always there for her, she'll eventually see their worth. But that's not how attraction works. Women are wired to want what they feel they have to earn. If she doesn't feel like she's working for your attention, she won't respect it. And if she doesn't respect it, she won't value it. A real-life example. A man spends months trying to impress a woman. He texts her often, always asks her how she's doing, and offers to help her whenever she needs something. She barely acknowledges his effort, but one day he stops. He doesn't text as much. He doesn't always pick up when she calls. He's busy. He's focused on himself. Suddenly she notices. She wonders why he changed. She starts texting him first. She starts trying to figure out if he still likes her. She starts putting in effort. Why? Because he became a challenge. He was no longer a guarantee. And when a woman feels like she might lose something, that's when she realizes how much she wants it. The key to being a challenge isn't about playing games or being manipulative. It's about having standards. It's about making her prove that she's worth your time instead of just giving your attention away for free. Women value men who make them work for it because it signals that he has options, that he's high value, and that he won't just settle for anyone. When you stop being an easy option, you force her to step up. And when she starts investing in you, emotionally, mentally, and physically, that's when she truly starts valuing you in a way she never did before. 6. You showed her you're desired by others. Nothing makes a woman rethink her feelings faster than seeing that other women want you. It's a psychological trigger. The moment she realizes you're valuable in the eyes of other women, her perception of you shifts. She starts questioning why she wasn't interested in the first place, why she didn't appreciate you before, and most importantly, whether she still has a chance. Women are naturally competitive when it comes to high-value men. If no other women seem to be interested in you, she assumes you're not worth chasing. But the second she notices other women paying attention to you, whether it's through social proof, a change in how you carry yourself, or even subtle signs that you're dating, her attraction kicks in. A real-life example. A man liked a woman, but she never took him seriously. She saw him as just another guy in her orbit. Then he started talking to other women. He started posting pictures of himself, having fun with different people, dressing better, and showing up to events with attractive female friends. Suddenly, the woman who ignored him started texting him, acting more interested, and even getting jealous. Why? Because his value increased in her eyes. He was no longer a man waiting around for her approval. He was a man who had options. And when a man has options, women instinctively feel the need to claim him before someone else does. This is not about faking interest from other women or trying to manipulate her emotions. It's about genuinely becoming a man who attracts attention. It's about self-improvement, confidence, and positioning yourself in a way that naturally draws people in. When she sees that other women are intrigued by you, she starts seeing you differently. The same man she ignored suddenly becomes the man she doesn't want to lose. And that's when she starts valuing you in a way she never did before. 7. You stopped waiting for her. Nothing makes a woman reevaluate a man faster than realizing he's moved on without her. When you were chasing, waiting, and hoping for her attention, she had no reason to value you. She knew you were there, always an option, always available. But the moment you stop waiting and actually move forward with your life, she sees you in a completely different way. Men make the mistake of thinking that patience and persistence will eventually win a woman over. They think that if they just wait long enough, she'll come around. But waiting isn't attractive. Waiting makes you look desperate. Women are drawn to men who are living, not lingering. A real-life example. A guy was fixated on a woman who wasn't interested. He kept checking in, texting her occasionally, and waiting for an opportunity to prove himself. She never took him seriously. Then, something changed. He got busy. He focused on himself. He stopped texting first. He started going out, meeting new people, and acting as if she didn't exist. A few weeks later, she reached out. Suddenly, she was curious. Suddenly, she wanted to talk. Why? Because she felt the shift. She realized he was no longer an option sitting on the shelf, waiting to be picked. He had moved on. And that triggered something deep in her psychology. Women have a strong fear of missing out when it comes to high-value men. If they think a man is still waiting, they don't feel urgency. But the moment they realize he's slipping away, they panic. They start wondering if they misjudged him. They start questioning why they didn't feel attracted before. And more than anything, they start feeling the desire to win him back. This is why detachment is so powerful. When you stop waiting, you communicate a strong message. You are not dependent on her. Your life does not revolve around her. You are a man on a mission, and she can either join or watch from the sidelines. That energy is irresistible. The mistake most men make is waiting just long enough to see if she notices. That's not true detachment. True detachment means you've mentally and emotionally moved on. You're no longer checking your phone, wondering if she'll text. You're no longer replaying conversations in your head, hoping for a different outcome. You're genuinely focused on yourself, and that's when she starts seeing you in a different light. Ironically, the men who let go are the ones who get chased. The men who stop waiting are the ones who suddenly become valuable. Because when a man is no longer an option, a woman realizes she might have missed out on something truly worth having.